Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited for today's video because it's another art vlog. You guys seem to really enjoy them, and that makes me so happy because I love being able to share all my adventures and take you along with me. Anyways, this time I traveled to Amsterdam. If you watched my last video, you'd know that I stayed abroad in Scotland for the holidays. But shortly afterwards, I flew out to Amsterdam to meet my family so we could travel and be together. This trip was so amazing. I loved the city so much, and the art shops were some of the coolest I'd ever been in. The whole city had so many artistic touches, and I got to go to so many cool art and stationery shops. I feel very blessed to have been able to visit another beautiful city, explore more of God's amazing earth, and spend time with my family. And so, without further ado, let's get into it. I flew into Amsterdam in the early afternoon, and it was such a pretty view. We went right above all the clouds, and the sun was shining so bright it felt like I was in heaven. Once we landed, we quickly dropped off our stuff at the hotel and walked down to our booking at the Heineken experience. The Heineken beer was born in Amsterdam and has become a world-leading lager. The tour was such a cool experience. The whole place was decorated with different Heineken decorations, and all the information was super interesting, so I'll give you some of the highlights. Jared Adrian Heineken was born and raised in Amsterdam into a merchant family. In 1864, at the age of 22, without any brewery experience, he bought the brewery De Hooiberg, which is known as the Haystack, and turned his focus to brewing premium lager beer. In 1873, he started his small family brewery in the city of Amsterdam. Although Adrian didn't have any technical brewing expertise, he had a very strong entrepreneurial spirit and vision for this business. Heineken grew fast, and his dedication to the quality turned the beer into an instant success. All the while, he kept the business family-owned, maintaining the purity and excellence of the beer. Heineken is made up of 4 ingredients: water, barley, hops, and the most important, the Heineken A yeast. This special yeast was discovered in the 19th century and is what makes the unique Heineken taste that is beautifully balanced with a subtle fruity and sweet note. This A yeast is kept top secret and is very closely guarded by the company. Apparently, those who know the recipe are kept extremely protected because if anything happens to them, the recipe is lost and the beer can't be made. The brewing of a Heineken beer happens in a series of stages. First, it starts with mashing. This is when the malted barley grain is soaked and gently heated to sprout, developing the enzymes it needs for brewing and creating a thick porridge-like liquid. This process converts the starches into sugars and creates a sweet liquid called wort, which is used later to feed the yeast during fermentation. The next stage is the lautering. In this stage, the liquid wort is separated from the solid grain husks. Then, once the wort has been collected, it's brought to a boil to sterilize it and prepare it for fermentation. The hops are added in this stage, which provide the bitterness to balance the malt's sweetness. The beer is then cooled before the yeast is added. This is because yeast is a living organism. If it's added into the hot liquid, it will die and be unable to ferment. So, once it's cooled, the liquid is then transferred to the fermentation tank where the yeast is added. As the yeast consumes the sugars in the wort, it produces alcohol, carbonation, and other flavors. This is where the A yeast really does its magic and gives the Heineken beer its unique and special flavor. The liquid then has a long cooling rest period of about 21 days at 0 degrees Celsius, which allows the flavors to mature and the yeast particles to settle. Lastly, the beer is filtered to remove any of the remaining particles. It is then bottled with the iconic Heineken logo. This whole experience was so cool, and I loved how interactive it was. They even had a section where you were the perspective of the beer, and they had a lot of different activities like photo booths, customizable beer bottles, and more. And I'm not even that big of a beer person. In fact, I would probably say that I don't like beer, but this was the best beer I've ever tried. I really liked the bright and slightly sweet flavor that the A yeast created. Then, the tickets we bought for the Heineken experience included a canal boat tour afterwards, which was located right across from the building. This was such a nice, relaxing, and pretty experience. We were able to catch the last boat and ride all down through the canals, getting to learn about lots of the city of Amsterdam. It was really nice to go on the boat tour at night and be able to see how the whole city was lit up. I also loved the way that the light shone on the water and reflected against it. And now, I'll share some of the coolest facts I learned from the audio guide. First off, in the canals, you'll notice a ton of homes that are on the water, essentially looking like mini floating homes. However, unlike a docked boat, these are anchored to the ground and can't move. The concept began before the 20th century after World War II, when Amsterdam was facing a severe housing shortage. This led people to repurpose vessels and barges, using them as affordable housing. Now, houseboats have transformed as a symbol of poverty to desirable, expensive, and trendy residences with modern designs. And I can attest to this because as we were sailing along, we could see through the windows into all of these boathouses, and they looked so quaint and were decorated so cute. I can't even imagine how cozy and nice it would be to live in one of those. Another thing you'll notice in the city are the very narrow house fronts. This was due to historical property taxes, which were based on the size of your house front width. This incentivized people to build tall and narrow buildings so they could save money. But although they look super narrow from the front, they expand in width as you walk in, allowing for a much more spacious living area than they really appear. Along with being narrow, a lot of the houses seem to have a forward-tilting lean. Now, there have been a few speculated reasons as to why this might be. Some reasons are practical. It could be for the pulley system that lifts goods to the attic to ensure it doesn't scrape the front wall of the house or break any windows. The front tilt also allows water to run off easier and act as a built-in shade from the rain. Lastly, as mentioned earlier about the property taxes, tilting the building forward could allow for even more interior space while keeping the house front as narrow as possible. The last reason is that it could just be for design. Some people believe it was a way for owners to show off their nice gabled roofs, making them more visible from the street. I would definitely recommend doing one of these boat tours. There was a lot of cool information, and it was just a great way to see a lot of the city. After the boat tour was finished, we made our way to a dinner spot called La Casa di Angelo, which was a little Italian restaurant, and the food was great. The bruschetta tasted so fresh, and we got tiramisu for dessert, which was delicious. And that was how we ended off our first successful day in Amsterdam. The next morning, we got up and ready for our first full day in the city. It was a Sunday, and we headed out around 9 a.m., so the city was so peaceful and quiet. This was the first time really being out in the city during the day, and it blew me away. The morning became one of my favorite times to wander. First, we stumbled across the Bloemenmarkt, which is Amsterdam's iconic flower market. It's often called the floating flower market because the stalls are located on houseboats along the single canal. There were flowers everywhere, in display cases, shelves, and even the ceiling. I was in absolute awe. All the flowers were so beautiful and colorful, and I just loved seeing all of them sitting on display. Flowers and plants are a huge inspiration to my artworks because I just love the natural beauty they hold. It is so amazing to see all the different types that can grow here on Earth thanks to God and His wonderful creativity. Bloemenmarkt started in 1862 as a way to bring flowers and bulbs into the city via boat. Flower sellers used barges to bring fresh flowers and plants from outside the city, docking along the canals to sell their goods to the residents. This practice then became formalized, and the market found itself a permanent home on the single canal. Vendors operated from fixed houseboats, creating the world's only floating flower market. Today, it's a popular tourist spot known for its vibrant colors and scents. Alongside fresh flowers, it sells tulip bulb seeds and traditional Dutch souvenirs. The morning was the perfect time to explore because there was essentially no one here. I loved looking at all the magnificent colors and details of the flowers. It felt like being in a fairy tale. I picked myself up a couple of wooden tulips as well as a tulip pen. I love collecting special pens for my travels and using them to create ballpoint pen sketches. There were so many stalls to look at, and I could have stayed in them for hours. Another great thing about these stalls is they're open 7 days a week, so you can come at any time. Afterwards, we wandered through Roken and Waterlooplein, which are two locations in Amsterdam's central district. It was a beautiful morning, and the streets were so quiet as most of the city was still sleeping. I really fell in love with Amsterdam during this time. Seeing all the canals, buildings, birds, and streets sitting so peacefully was just so gorgeous. We went to Moke Pancakes for breakfast, which are known for their all-day pancakes. Moke aims to offer great food, juicy juices, and a cool vibe, all the while offering generous hospitality. And this was the exact experience we had. The restaurant was so cool, and all the food was absolutely delicious. And randomly, they even had Japanese-style toilets, which I haven't seen since my trip to Japan back in May. After that, we made our way to Newmarket Square, which was our meeting point for the Anne Frank walking tour. Newmarket Square was used by the Nazis as a collection point for Jewish residents before deporting them to concentration camps. We then met up with our guide, Leone. She was absolutely incredible and so lovely. She was so knowledgeable, showing us extra pictures and reading clips from Anne Frank's journal as well. Here's some of the information that I learned. Amsterdam's Jewish Quarter is a significant cultural district centered around Jewish life from the 16th century up to World War II. Leading up to the war, many Jews went to Amsterdam. This was an attractive city to people because they could live in religious freedom, which was rare compared to other parts of Europe. This allowed Jews to live openly and practice their faith. The Netherlands also held a neutral stance during World War I, and so many hoped that they would do the same next time around. However, as the Nazis grew in power, Amsterdam performed a census requiring everyone to state their name, address, and indicate if they were Jewish. From the results, they found that this area was the most populated by the Jewish community. It was then deemed the Jewish Quarter, and they built large fences and gates around it, as well as marking it with huge signs. Brutal and inhumane restrictions were then placed on Jews, including wearing a Star of David, restricting their shopping hours, and places they could attend. All of this was to further embed the Nazi ideology that Jewish people were different than everyone else. Believe it or not, the Franks were actually quite a fortunate family during this time. Their wealth allowed them to escape Germany and find a hiding spot. As the parents realized the emerging state of the war, Otto created a hiding spot in the back of his business, hidden by a revolving bookcase. They gradually started moving stuff to the hiding spot, keeping it a secret from the girls, Anna and Margot. On July 6, 1942, the Franks went into early hiding after Margot received a letter requiring her to go to a working camp. The whole family packed up as much as they could bring with them without looking suspicious and went to the secret annex. The Franks lived in their hiding spot with 2 other families for over 2 years. This was extremely isolating and confining as they were trapped from the outside world. Since they were living directly above where workers were, they had to be extremely quiet in all hours of the day to ensure they wouldn't get caught. They were also completely dependent on the help of others for any food, supplies, and water. Their saving grace was from a small group of trusted helpers who risked their lives to bring them provisions and sacrifice their own rations. Anne was an extremely bright, talented, and mature girl for her age. She received her diary for her 13th birthday and started recording in it 2 days later as a personal diary. Only a few weeks later, in July 1942, the horrible events of the Nazis uprose and she recorded all of her thoughts, feelings, and insights in this diary. Anne dreamed of being a writer and a journalist, and as their time went on in hiding, she had a goal to publish her diaries of all her experiences in the annex. She worked hard on her entries and edits, and longed to be remembered as having an impact on people long after her time. And that she did. Nearing the end of the war, the Franks' secret hiding spot was ratted out, and the Franks were arrested. They were sent to concentration camps where Otto was separated from his wife and children. What makes it so devastating is that they were on the last deportation bus. In the camps, the mom, Edith Frank, died of starvation and exhaustion as she continued to give her daughters all of her resources to keep them as strong as possible. Margot and Anne were then transferred to another camp where they died of typhus so shortly before the liberation of the camps. As a result, Otto Frank was the only Frank member to survive. After receiving and reading Anne's diary, he made it his life's mission to publish them as his daughter wished. While there is so much more information, that was my brief overview. But I totally suggest learning more about it or reading Anne's diary. Learning about these kinds of things are so important, and informing ourselves on these events and the damage and impact that was done, we can make sure we never let these types of things happen again. After the tour, we made our way back to the hotel to put on some extra layers. On the way back, we stumbled across Rembrandt Square, which had an ice rink, lights, and lots of food and dessert stalls. We stopped and picked up a bunch of treats to try. We got a Nutella ball, a kind of custard short john, an apple fritter, and some stroopwafels. My absolute favorite was the Nutella ball. It was the most delicious thing I've ever tasted. It was so full of Nutella and warm and gooey and soft and creamy. Then we went out and did some afternoon shopping. The first shop I went to was called Bookhandel de Slegte. This shop was located right next to our hotel, so I became interested after walking past it a few times. This is a well-known Dutch bookstore specializing in secondhand, bargain, and antique books. They had so many shelves lined with all different types of books, and I went straight to the art ones, labeled as Kunst. I had such a fun time flipping through them all. I love finding cool little hidden gem books from used bookstores like these because it feels like sorting through a treasure chest and like taking home a little gem. They had a ton of books about Rembrandt, who was a Dutch painter, printmaker, and draftsman. He's considered one of the greatest artists of the Dutch Golden Age, which was a period when the Dutch Republic became a world-leading power in trade, science, art, and military, as well as gained a large amount of wealth. Rembrandt is known for his dramatic use of light and shadow, expressive realism, and self-portraits. When I was sorting through the books, I found this really cool Studio Ghibli book that goes into depth of all the movies and the artwork behind them. They also had some really pretty journals with famous artworks from many different artists. We then walked through Krakkenkwartel, known as the Canal District. If you go to Amsterdam, you'll see tons of bikes, more than I've ever seen in my life in one place. Bikes are central to life in Amsterdam. They arrived and were introduced into the city in the late 19th century and became quickly popular due to Amsterdam's flat terrain. During World War II, fuel shortages made bikes essential, solidifying their role in daily life. After the war, as cars became more dominant, there was a surge in traffic mortality, causing activist groups to protest and demand safer streets. I'll continue with the history of the bikes right after I introduce the next shop. This one was called Knopenwinkel, translating to the button shop in English. This shop sells lots of buttons in all different colors and designs you can imagine. It was so satisfying to look at all of the buttons filling the shelves and trays in the store. Knopenwinkel has the look and feel of an art gallery, displaying the beautiful pieces of Anna Pavlova. She's a Moscow-trained painter who has lived in Amsterdam for around 20 years. Her landscapes and cityscapes are known for their vibrant and impressionistic style, especially capturing Amsterdam's canals and buildings in the natural light. I absolutely loved all of her pieces. The soft and muted colors she used were so beautiful to look at. Back to the bicycles. As a result of the public pressure, the city was forced to rethink transport, prioritizing cyclists and pedestrians. There are now extensive dedicated bicycle paths, allowing cycling to become deeply embedded into the Dutch culture. Children are taught to use bikes and navigate the city from a young age, resulting in cycling becoming the main mode of transportation for over half of central trips. So if you go to Amsterdam, always make sure you're watching out for cyclists because they can approach pretty quickly without you hearing them. The next shop I went into was called Miscellaneous. I had seen this shop on TikTok and was super intrigued to check it out. The misc store carries a carefully selected range of stationery, everyday objects, and interior design pieces to help in finding the right work-life balance. They offer high-quality, sought-after brands that are not easily found elsewhere in Europe. This includes brands such as the Midori Traveler's Notebook, Lamy, and Postal Co. The way the store carefully curates their stock from certain distributors remind me a lot of the Choose and Keeping stationery shop that I visited while I was in London. The misc store originally began in 2022, first collecting books and souvenirs. Today, the store is now filled with a wide variety of miscellaneous objects. It was so much fun seeing so many unique products I'd never seen before, and it almost felt like being in a toy store. Everything was so colorful and vibrant, giving the store such a fun and welcoming atmosphere. I found this really cute little game of pig dice where you roll the pigs and depending on how they land, you gain points. The trickier the position, the higher the points. and if it lands on its snout, you get the most points possible. You and the rest of the players take turns rolling, and whoever ends up winning the most points wins the round. It sounded like such a fun and easy game, so I decided to pick it up. We then stopped into a little cafe called the Coffee Company for a little snack and pick-me-up. I got a matcha latte with oat milk, and it was so delicious and creamy, and we got a few different loaves to split. Then, me and my dad tested out the little piglet game that I got, which really was a lot of fun. It was really exciting to see when a pig would land in a special position. The last stationery shop I'll be showing you in this video is Vlieger, which is a well-known art and paper supply shop in Amsterdam. Established in 1869, it's considered one of the oldest paper stores in Europe and is loved by many. The shop offers a vast array of beautiful papers ranging from colored, patterned, and handmade. They also sell stationery, envelopes, calligraphy supplies, markers, paints, notebooks, and unique items like washi tape and decorative embellishments. It has a really warm and cozy, relaxed atmosphere. Seeing all the supplies and paper organized and filling the shelves was so pleasing to the eye, and I loved having a chance to look at them all. Their specialty papers were unlike any I had ever seen before, with the most gorgeous patterns. I totally wish I could have bought some, but I just knew that trying to transport them back home would end up damaging them. So instead, I just admired them. Although the store was small, it was packed with tons of supplies, giving you plenty of things to look at. They had the widest range of colors of paper I had ever seen. I was able to find some gold medal paper, and I picked up a couple of sheets which I want to try embossing as a future project. This was one of the most unique little art shops I had ever been in. I've never been in a shop that focused on paper like this, and so it was a really cool experience for me. So, I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of the clips I took. Afterwards, I met up with the rest of my family who were also doing some shopping, and we just checked out loads of different stores selling cool clothes, accessories, decor, and cute little trinkets. For dinner, we went to a restaurant called Ku Kitchen and Bar, which provides an authentic Japanese fusion cuisine. The atmosphere was really cool and the food was such good quality. We got a bunch of different plates to share, and you could literally taste the freshness of every single ingredient. We got a salmon roll, which was torched at the table, which was so cool to watch. I'd never had my food prepared like that in front of me before. The salmon was so rich and creamy, it was almost like butter. Everything was cooked and seasoned to perfection. It was such a yummy meal to end off another great day. We then made our way back to the hotel, walking through the canals and the Festival of Lights. It was so pretty to see it all lit up at night again. So that's gonna be the end of this part of the Amsterdam vlog. I have so much footage that I figured I would split it into a couple parts. So I hope you enjoyed learning about the city and seeing some of the cool stationery shops I was able to check out. In the next part, I'll be visiting the Van Gogh Museum and a couple of the independent art supply shops here in the city. They were absolutely amazing, so I'm really excited to share them with you guys. So stay tuned for that video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all had an absolutely amazing new year. I'm so grateful for all of you who joined me in 2025 and for the year of 2026 to come. Subscribe for more art content, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, happy creating.